through their actions how they're trending in their growth. They observe two distinctly different type of people. And not to get so deeply into that, because I'm going to go further into that on another day. But what we find is that Rebecca will get to a point where the word that God gave her will become actualized, and it will be totally contingent upon her making an executive decision. And in her making this executive decision, she will be misunderstood by people, by everyone. No one would know what Rebecca knew. And Rebecca would not even really fully know it. How many of us in our lives have gotten a word from God early in our walk? It's so outrageous that we don't believe that it's going to come about exactly as God has spoken to us. So we look for little details and little nuggets of it along our path, as if God gave it to us in a riddle, and that it's not going to come about exactly as that, but it'll come about in another fashion, somewhat like a dream. You know what I mean? Like when Rebecca has gotten a word from God, it doesn't say that God gave Rebecca this word in a dream. It doesn't say how God gave Rebecca this dream. It just says that Rebecca inquired of God. It doesn't say how she inquired. It says that she proactively went to God to get a word, and she received it. All it gives us is the word that God gave her. And so if we put ourselves in Rebecca's shoes, if we were to get a word from God, if we petition God through prayer, and we put it on our altar of God and gave it to God in the form of prayer, and then God responds with a word speaking directly to it, do we take that word verbatim? Do we take that word as it was related to us in the fullness of in which it was related? And do we expect to see that exact thing come about? Or are we flexible with the way that we expect God to allow this thing to come about? I'm here to say that we're open to it all a lot of times, you guys, because it's not our job to dictate how God shows a thing in our lives. God moves in strangeness, y'all. God moves in chaos a lot of times. And in order to be able to discern the movements of God, we must have the wisdom to know when to capture the opportunity. And a lot of times in capturing the opportunities of things that God told us would come to pass early in our walk, we must be misunderstood by people. This is Rebecca. Absolutely. Rebecca would be thrust into a situation where throughout her entire walk, she's looking for a sign as to how God will bring this word that God gave her when she was pregnant with these two children to pass. And now the Bible gets to a place, a crescendo, where Isaac is at the end of his life. And Isaac is now looking to bless Esau. And Rebecca has seen snapshots of how this thing is going to trend throughout the life of both of her children. She's seen Esau sell Jacob his birthright. She had nothing to do with that. Esau sold Jacob his birthright. Both the Apocrypha and the Bible support this. The Apocrypha goes deeper into it. I spoke to this the other on Sunday as to how Esau sold it and him unaliving Nimrod. And then coming upon Jacob, famished, tired, distressed. The Apocrypha says he was in grief. He was afraid. He didn't think he was going to be able to live after doing such things. And it wasn't that Esau did it. What Esau did showed he stood in the authority of that which he was created. Esau was a hunter, just like Nimrod was. He showed strength and might, but he showed strength and might for the wrong reasons. He showed strength and might in the wrong spirit. I'm here to tell you, they call it intention today. It is the spirit in which you do a thing that matters the most. Intention is spirit. It is the spirit in which you go about a thing that makes the world of difference. And for Esau, he chose the wrong spirit. And because he chose the wrong spirit, he could not activate the skins. He could not activate the power to allow him to contend so that he would not be fearful. And in him being fearful, he runs to his brother Jacob. And because of fear, he says, take the birthright. I don't want it. They're going to come looking for me because of it. Take it. And Jacob, being an opportunist, he sees the wisdom in what looks like chaos and what looks like an impossible thing. And he takes the opportunity and he buys Esau's birthright. But that would not be enough. The birthright is great, thank you. But it's nothing without the blessing of Isaac. And Rebekah would learn of these things. And she would say, okay, I love both of my children, but I love God. And I got a word. God told me that Jacob would be king over Esau, and Esau would serve Jacob. And this is God's creation. I can't overtake God. God created me. We had to go and ask God so I could have these children. So when Isaac says, bring Esau so I can bless him, and Rebekah overhears it, she knows that she overhears it for a purpose. She just wasn't there to hear that by chance. Because all these little things have lined up in purpose. None of this has lined up by chance. So chance is out of the picture. It's not a chance situation. This is purpose. And she immediately acts. And the way she acts is heretical. Anyone listening to this story without knowing the fullness of it would judge Rebekah. Would say Rebekah was pitting her children against one another. Would say Rebekah was selfish and she wanted Jacob because she wanted Jacob to be in that role because she loved Jacob more than she loved her other son. She's showing favoritism. But the truth of the matter is that Rebekah knew something that none of these other people knew. And how many of us are walking the paths of life with the same